Tatago Mitunam Raja Hanyamanam Anatavat Dandahastam Cha Risalam Dadrase Lanchanam Sutuvacha Tatago Mitunam Raja Hanyamanam Anatavat Dandahastam Chavasalam Dadrase Lanchanam Sutuvacha Tatrago Mitunam Raja Hanyamanam Anatavat Dandahastam Chavasalam Dadrase Lanchanam Sutuvacha Tatrago Mitunam Raja Hanyamanam Anatavat Dandahastam Chavasalam Dadrase Lanchanam Sutuvacha. Sri Suta Goswami said, Tatra thereupon, Go Mitunam, a cow and a bull, Raja, the king, Hanyamanam, being beaten, Anatavat, appearing to be bereft of their owner, Dandahastam, with a club in hand, Cha, also, Vrisalam, lower caste, Sudra, Dadrase, observed, Nripa, a king, Lanchanam, dressed like. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Suta Goswami said, after reaching that place, Maharaj Parikshit observed that a lower class Sudra, dressed like a king, was beating a cow and a bull with a club as if they had no owner. Purport. The principal sign of the age of Kali is that lower caste Sudras, that is, men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation, will be dressed like administrators or kings, and the principal business of such non-kshatriya rulers will be to kill the innocent animals, especially the cows and the bulls, which shall be unprotected by their masters, the bona fide Vaishyas, the mercantile community. In the Bhagavad Gita 18:44, it is said that the Vaishyas are meant to deal in agriculture, cow protection, and trade. In the age of Kali, the degraded Vaishyas, the mercantile men, are engaged in supplying cows to slaughterhouses. The Kshatriyas are meant to protect the citizens of the state, whereas the Vaishyas are meant to protect the cows and bulls and utilize them to produce grains and milk. The cow is meant to deliver milk, and the bull is meant to produce grains. But in the age of Kali, the Sudra class of men are in the post of administrators, and the cows and bulls, or the mothers and the fathers, unprotected by the Vaishyas, are subjected to the slaughterhouses organized by the Sudra administrators. Om Jnanatamandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshramalitam Dina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Bhutavachala Pungalung Hayate Grim Yatkritam Yatkripataraham Bade Shri Gurum Dinadaram Vanchikapatibhyascha Kripa Sindhuvdeva Patitanam Pavani Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Here Prabhupada is mentioning that the principal sign of the age of Kali is the lower caste Sudras. Men without Brahminical culture and spiritual initiation would be dressed like administrator kings with their nice suits and ties. Paka looks so nice, yeah. But the heart and the mind is completely polluted. So this is the sad situation of the age of Kali. And we ain't seen nothing yet. It gets really bad. It gets really bad. Fortunately, we won't see that. Fortunately. But Lord Chaitanya, he's very kind. So he's come in the age of Kali to help the Kali Yugites in this very degraded age. Kalir doshan he rajan asti he kamahag kirtana deva Krishna shabmukta sangha param bhajan. That this age of Kali has so many faults. But the one good quality, simply by chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. We can become completely purified. Wouldn't that be nice? Huh? Wouldn't that be nice? Completely pure, no modes of nature, just wants to serve Krishna, please Krishna. So that's something to look forward to. You know. But we have to have two very important qualities. Utsaha, which means? Utsaha nishtya dharya, confidence and patience. You're very patient. Don't be too patient. yeah, I'll take it seriously later on. You got to be patient, you know. No, you have to be determined too. Enthusiastic. Prabhupada, I was just listening to a lecture, Prabhupada. He said we have to be enthusiastic. And even if you're not enthusiastic, just act enthusiastic. And he gave the example of old cars. See, he had one of these old cars, the Standard. I mean, to have a car back when Prabhupada was in India, back in the 30s, you got to be rich. Prabhupada had one. He had his I think his nephew used to drive it. I guess it used to break down. When it would break down, you had to push start it, you know, and you pop the clutch. Now you know people don't even know what a clutch is now. You know what a clutch is? Oh, you learn how to drive with a clutch.
Yeah. I found my car's
Yeah. So what you do, and you push it, and you pop the clutch, and then the car goes and it goes. So it's like that. You got to, even you're not enthusiastic, just, and plus we get help from the devotees. Also, we get help from devotees, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj. He says, my path is very difficult. Durgame patamandashe skelet hara gatiramo. Yet kripa tarham bande. Yet kripa tarham bande, I think it is. Something else, but no, I'm forgetting it. Anyway, he says that my path is difficult. I'm blind. My feet are slipping again. Therefore, may the devotees help me by giving me their stick of mercy as my support. So we got to be enthusiastic, and with the help of the devotees, then we could go on very nicely in Krishna consciousness. So here in the purport, Prabhupada mentions the Vaishyas and the Kshatriyas. The Vaishyas are supposed to take care of the cows, agricultural activities, and trade. And the Kshatriyas, they protect society. But of course, the most important in the Varnas is the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas are the most important. Now he mentions the qualities of the Vaishyas in Bhagavad Gita 18:44, and then there's the qualities of the Brahmanas. Samodamas, Tapakshotam, Kshantir Arjuna, Jnana Vijnanam Astakam, Brahma Karma Sabhavajam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. And there's a statement, Stuchi hoy, muchi hoy, yari Krishna tyaje, muchi hoy, yari Krishna, yari Krishna bhaje. That one may be born into a very muchi family, like most of the Americans, meat-eating families, muchi. But if he becomes a devotee, he becomes suchi. On the other hand, one may be born in a very suchi family, but if he doesn't become a devotee, he's muchi. What's muchi? Muchi means the cobblers. Yeah, the cobblers, they fix shoes. That's what muchi. And the suchi, those are those who are engaged in devotional service. So we're trying to become suchi, clean. And that's what happens by this process of Krishna consciousness. It's like in the Gita Mahatmya, it is said that if one bathes in the Ganges, that's very good, very purified. However, if one bathes in the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita, that's even more purifying, because the Gita is spoken by Krishna. And if one drinks the water of the Ganges, that's also very purifying. However, if one drinks the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita, this is even more purifying. And then it goes on to say that the Bhagavad Gita is like a cow. And Krishna, he's like a cowherd boy. And he's milking the cow. And Arjuna, he's like a calf. And he's drinking the milk. And we're like calves. And we're drinking the milk of the Bhagavad Gita. Also Srimad Bhagavatam. We also get a lot of nectar from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the result of hearing is from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We get purified, we get nurtured. Just like if you drink milk, it's called the miracle food. Yeah. Liquid, was it? Liquid religion. Liquid religion, milk. And sometimes people they say, well, how do I know the soul exists? I don't see it. But within milk, it's interesting, within milk, there's ghee, yeah? There's yogurt, there's buttermilk. What else? What else do we get? Huh? Cheese. What else?
Milk sweets.
Milk sweets. A lot of sweets, yeah. But no one can see it. If you look in the milk, you can't see that. You can't see that. But there's a process by which you can see all this, right? You could get the ghee out of it. It's amazing. You can get ghee out of milk. I mean, yogurt and cheese and all kinds of nice things. But there's a process by which one can bring these things out of milk, and one can see these things. Similarly, there's a process by which we can understand very clearly the existence of the soul. There is the process. And this is the sadhana bhakti process. This is how we are able to realize the soul. It's like Krishna says, Raja Vidya, the king of knowledge. There's so much knowledge, so many universities. It'd be interesting to know how many universities there are in the world. I wonder if you can Google it. I doubt it, because there's some places probably even not. Anyways, a lot. There's thousands. But 25,000 universities. And in America right now, there's about 4 million university students. More than a lot of countries. So many students studying so many universities, but they can't learn about what is most important. Krishna and the soul, except from our Bhaktivedanta Institute, BI, Bhaktivedanta Institute University. There people can learn, also in our Bhakti Shastris and Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Sarvabhauma, people can learn about the soul. They can learn about Krishna. So this is real education. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said that our modern educational institutions are slaughterhouses for the soul. Even people that are religious, they go to universities, and these professors, they try to convince people there's no God. And even there was one instance where a friend of mine, he was at the university up here in the Bay Area, and he was in the class, and the professor said, "Don't bring God into this classroom." And he's a devotee, and he was like, "Oh my God, this guy's a demon." So when he got home, he called his parents. They're in Southern California. So when his parents heard that, they thought, "Oh my God." So they actually decided to move from Southern California just to come up here and give him association, because it's pretty. Oh my God, it's so demoniac up there. We got to go up there and give him some association, because there's no devotee. He didn't know any devotees up here. I mean, maybe he wasn't aware of the ISV or something. But that's how demoniac it is. They just try to remove God. And even Prabhupada says that people, they translate the Gita, but they take Krishna out of the Gita. No Krishna. They're translating Krishna's book, and they try to take Krishna out and try to put themselves. It's such nonsense. So fortunately, we got Bhagavad Gita as it is. All the other Bhagavad Gitas are Bhagavad Gita as it isn't, because they're not getting as they say in America, they're not getting the real McCoy, the real thing. You've ever heard that before? The real McCoy, the real thing. Yeah, like they have that. Coke is the real thing. Coke is not the real thing. Krishna is the real thing, and we're trying to give the real thing out to others. And this is one of the duties of a Brahmana. Yajan yajan, patan patan, dana panigraha. That they worship Krishna, the Brahmanas, they worship Krishna, and they teach others how to worship Krishna. And they learn the Vedas, and they teach others about the Vedas. It's so important that we learn Srila Prabhupada. He said, "You should know my books like a lawyer knows his law books." And some of these lawyers, really, Prabhupada tells of one instance, so there was a court case, and this lawyer, he brought so many books, and the judge said to the lawyer, "You brought your whole library here." And the lawyer said to the judge, "That's right, judge, just to teach you law." He's a little puffed up. But yeah, Prabhupada said like that, we should know these books like a lawyer knows the law. In other words, we should really study Prabhupada's books. In this way, we'll become more and more absorbed in Krishna. So here it's mentioned about the cow. Now here in this world, the cow gives milk. Like we had I went to I had a little detour. I went up to Seattle on the way to Orlando. So they have a farm there. Actually, they have 3 farms outside of the Seattle temple. It's amazing. They got 2 temples and 3 farms. So we went to one of the farms, and they gave me some of the cow's milk. Like, wow, straight from the cow. It's like a big difference. I'm getting it here, getting straight from the cow. It's so nice. So from the cow, we get milk here. Now in the spiritual world, they're surabhi cows. You can get whatever you want. You can get samosa. You can get puris. You can get pizza. Maybe pizza. I don't know. It's so popular here. You would think they'd have it there. Yeah. When one devotee he said, a pizza is a self-realized chapati. So, so yeah, you can get anything you want from a surabhi cow, just like the they have the trees there, the kalpavriksha trees, whatever you want, you can get. Yeah. And there's no slaughterhouses in the spiritual world. Yeah. Everyone is taking nice care of the cows. There's an instance in this world of one a great saintly person. He had a surabhi cow, and there was one king that went there, and his whole army was fed by this surabhi cow. What was the name of the king? Was it Vishnu? I can't remember. One of the big.
Because Vasista had a cow.
Yeah, Vasista had the cow. Vishwamitra, yeah, Vishwamitra. He became so envious. He wanted to take the cow, but Vasista, he didn't want it. I don't want to give my cow away. So he just taking it away, and Vasista couldn't do anything. So the surabhi cow said, "Hey, he's taking me away. What are you? There's nothing I can do." So then the surabhi cow was so powerful that he created an army to defeat Vasista, right? And he was able to escape. But it was there's there was a lot of friction between Vasista, Muni, and Vishwamitra. But so the spiritual world is a very nice place. There's surabhi cows and kalpavriksha cows, and it's described that no one walks in the spiritual world. Everyone dances, and no one gets tired. Like I get tired. I was at the. I don't know if you saw me. I was at the sadhu sangha, and I was on the stage dancing, but it was a hard floor. Actually, I went up to dance because there was only one devotee up there, Chandamukha Swami. No, Chandamali. So I thought, well, let me give him this association. He's just by himself there. So I went up there. I just wanted to accompany him. So he's 77 years old, and he dances like anything. He's a good dancer too. So I was up there dancing, but my feet got hurt. I had to rest for a while because it was a hard floor, not like the nice wooden floor we have in the temple here. So, but there you don't get hurt feet. Your legs don't get hurt. No one gets tired. Imagine that. And it's like here, you work so hard, you get tired after a while. Yeah. But no one gets tired. Spiritual bodies. It's called Siddha Swarup, Swadharma, our original. We also have our original form in the spiritual world. Siddha Swarup. Sometimes people say that we were never with Krishna, that we came from the Brahmajyoti or something. Maybe you heard something like that. But what about our Siddha Swarup? Prabhupada has many times said that we have a Siddha Swarup. So it's got to be. If there's a Siddha Swarup, then we were with Krishna. And there's also we have the back to Godhead. How could you go back to a place where you've never been? And throughout Prabhupada's books, he mentions how we were with Krishna. And now we're trying to go back to Krishna. But we have to learn how to please Krishna, worship Krishna. Yajan. Prabhupada came to teach us so many things. Teach us how to chant, how to serve, how to worship. Prabhupada was the best chanter. His japa. It's like there's different levels of japa. There's 5-star japa. There's 1-star japa. There's no star japa. Like I remember I was in Mayapur, and there was one devotee who was chanting his japa while he was playing football. Yeah, he was chanting japa. Running around the field chanting, playing. That was probably the most inattentive japa I ever saw. Except for the one time I saw a devotee he was watching TV, watching a movie, chant japa. I said, Prabhu, how could you chant japa watching a movie? He said, Vijaya, this is the only way I could chant my japa. In other words, no taste. So what is 5-star japa? 5-star japa, where one is just completely just hearing the holy name, no other thought, just hearing the holy name of Krishna. And what is the mood? Prabhupada says the mood, just like a child crying out to the mother, crying out to the mother. And what are we crying out for? Crying out for service. It's like yesterday I was at the farmer's market, and there was a baby crying. And I was thinking, okay, that's how we should cry. Huh? So I was praying, Krishna, please, maybe one day I could cry out to you for service like this. And also Prabhupada said we should chant in the mood that, Krishna, please accept me again. Please accept me again as your servant. I've fallen away, but please be kind upon me. Accept me once again as your servant. And then also he says we should have the mood, oh my friend, please accept me. Oh my friend, because Krishna, he's our best friend. Bhoktaram yagatapasan sarvalokam suradam sarvadam gatam santimishati. That Krishna, he is the enjoyer, is the provider, he's the friend of everyone. Such a good friend. He's such a good friend that even someone can be the president of the atheistic society here in America, but Krishna's still there, waiting. I mean, that's a pretty good friend. Here he is, he's just blaspheming Krishna, blaspheming God, like anything. But still, Krishna doesn't turn away. Krishna's very patient. He's waiting. He's waiting. There's one instance where there was, this was in Los Angeles, but in the early days, there was a person who was very envious of the devotees. And he would come by and he would break the window of the temple and then run away. And, devotees are tolerant. And this was going on. And one time, it happened. And one of the devotees said, I ain't taking this guy no more. So he ran out and he chased the guy down. And he beat him up. Yeah. But what happened was that the person that was doing this, harassing the devotees, he was kind of impressed. He was like, wow, I thought these guys were sissies. You know what sissy is? Sissy? Sissy means like a boy that's like a girl. Like, sissy. Yeah, sissy. Yeah, he's from America, you know that. So he was impressed. Boy, these guys are pretty tough. He was impressed. And he was so impressed that sometime later, he got a book. One of Prabhupada's books. Small book, Perfection of Yoga or something. And he read it, he said, wow, these guys got a good philosophy too. Again, he was impressed. And he was so impressed that he decided to go to the Sunday feast. But they wouldn't let him in because they knew the guy was breaking windows, And he said, you're not going to believe this, but I've had a change of heart. I read your book, Perfection of Yoga. It's good. You guys are. I'm impressed. I want to check it out." And they said, "All right." And some of the devotees said to you keep an eye on him. Watch this guy. So I went in there, and he was in front of the deities, and he even started chanting. And I'm like, "Wow, this guy's amazing." And even the guy that beat him up, he was like, "What's this guy doing in here?" And one devotee said, "No, seems like he's done a little change." "Oh yeah, keep an eye on him." So then he kept on coming, Sunday feast. And he started, believe it or not, he started chanting japa. Did you hear the story yet?
No.
It's amazing. So he started chanting japa, and then at one point he said, "I'd like to join." And they're like, "This is unbelievable." They're like shocked. So the temple president said, "Well, you keep visiting some, we'll see how it goes." And then they saw the guy had a complete change of heart, and they let him join the brahmacharya ashram. And then he saw that some devotees were much happier than other devotees. So he asked, "Hey, what kind of service do you guys do?" They said, "Oh, we're book distributors." "Oh, can I distribute books?" "Oh, yeah. Talk to the temple president." And after some time, let him go on book distribution. And eventually he became one of the biggest book distributors in the movement. Famous. His name was Ruchi, Prabhupada disciple.
Oh.
Imagine that. He coming from breaking windows to becoming one of the biggest book distributors. So Krishna is very, very kind. The best friend of everyone. So he's the best friend. He's the proprietor of everything. Just like we have some things. We have computers, and we have bicycle and car. Some have bicycles, some have cars, some have computers, but actually everything belongs to Krishna. Everything always belongs to Krishna. Isa vashyam idang sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Chena chaktena bhunjita magradha kashasvidanam. That everything that exists is owned and controlled by Krishna. Therefore, we should only accept that which we need as a quota, and not accept more, knowing well to whom everything belongs. So this is the position. We don't need much, and therefore our motto is simple living, high thinking. So high thinking is we have such high literatures: Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Such nice books that elevate our consciousness. And we live simply. We don't need much. So this is the grace of Krishna, that we have been given this nice process by which we can again establish this friendship with Krishna. Friendships in this world are kind of flickering. It's like I had a friend, a very good friend. We were very close friends when I lived in Texas. We were such good friends that when we were moving to California, he said, "Vern, talk your mother into staying here. Don't go to California." There's 7 of us in the family. He wanted the whole family to stay because we were so close. I said, "No, I want to go to California." So we were very close. But then when we got older, we went different directions. He was unfortunately, he was a very sinful person. He became very sinful. Yeah. So the friendships in this world, they last for some time, and then they gradually they dwindle. What to speak of marriages? So many divorces. Yeah. Like half the marriages end in divorce. Very painful. I can't imagine what it'd be like, but it's very painful. Painful for the husband and wife, and for the children, even more painful for the children, because it's like the children have love for both, but then they're being torn apart because of the separation. Like when I was in LA, I was living there in Reseda. You know Reseda? Reseda. I was living there for a while, and this husband and wife, they got divorced, and there was one little boy there, nice little boy, about 8 years old. I said after they divorced, I said, well, that must be difficult, huh? Your parents have divorced, now your father's over there, your mother. He said, no, it's good, because they used to fight all the time. So sometimes it's a relief. They were fighting so much. So yeah, it's the age of Kali, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. A lot of quarrel. Prabhupada even mentions of these two brothers who got in an argument in India. They got in an argument, and they were arguing so much that they started getting physical. They started fighting, and one of them was killed. One of them killed the other. Yeah. And then it went to court. The judge sentenced the brother that killed the other brother to death. And the father went up to the judge. He went up to the judge, please. One of my sons is dead. Don't kill this one too. He said, all right, he's life sentence, prison. So the judge let him live just because the father only had two sons. One's dead, now the one's going to be killed. Material world. Amazing, huh? Brothers fighting, then one kills the other. So it's not a nice place, and especially in the age of Kali. So therefore you want to give people this knowledge as much as possible. It's what is most needed. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, the only lack in society is Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So we're trying to give Krishna. So any question or comment?
I really like 2 points that I really took. There are many points that I took. Two of them were how you emphasize that Prabhupada said you must know the books like a lawyer knows the law books. Because sometimes I just read to finish. I am guilty of that. I read to complete a chapter and not go deeply into it. But Prabhupada is not just saying study, but you should know it so deeply that you can quote and you can make a case for yourself if you have to defend the books. So it's another level. And same for japa. You said 5-star japa. That's a very high standard.
Yeah. You know what I found? I know this is hard to hear, but I found that the best japa I ever chant is before Mangalarti. I never fall asleep when I'm chanting japa before Mangalarti. When I chant, and I'm being honest with you, when I chant after Mangalarti, sometimes I'll start to snooze. But for some reason, before Mangalarti, it doesn't happen. There's something about before. Actually, Prabhupada, and the reason I do that, because Prabhupada told Yamuna, best time to chant your japa is before Mangalarti. Now I know it'd be really difficult for you guys because you have your work and you take rest late. So, but if you ever in your lifetime get a chance to get up early and chant your japa, you'll find it's a big difference because there's absolutely no distraction. Yeah. I mean, especially after breakfast, then it's really tough, right? Sometimes devotees that chant japa in the bus or something, that's like really, or chant japa driving down the car, in the car, that's like really difficult because there's just so much distraction. But before Mangalarti, best japa I ever chant is before Mangalarti. That's the best place to establish 5-star. Of course, I'm not saying I'm chanting 5-star. I still got a long way. I might be 1-star, but I've definitely improved. by chanting before Mangalarti. You had another one?
You mentioned about Ruchi Prabhu's story. I was reminded of a pastime that Naikatma Prabhu mentioned when we were in LA. He mentioned about how there used to be, but this does not have a good ending like this pastime. So there used to be a very envious person who would trouble them when they were distributing books at the airports. So sometimes he would tear the books. He would accept a book, tear it, and then throw it at the devotees. And then he would open a book. He would scoop out the pages, fill it with stool, and then give it back to the devotees. He would be as big as a nuisance as he could. And then the devotees would really feel bad that he's irritating them. And then one time he got electrocuted and he passed away. And all the devotees were in.
Well, that's a good ending.
That's exactly what I got. He said, like we would generally feel sadness if someone were to pass away like that, just get electrocuted. But this was one instance where he would like irritate the devotees and then also blaspheme the devotees, blaspheme the books, and he really got a good ending, is what Naikatma Prabhu said.
Well, actually, it was better because if you would have continued on, he would have gotten more offensive.
More offensive.
But also, Mr. Nair, Mr. Nair, when he passed away, Prabhupada said, "Oh, thank you, Krishna. I was hoping something like this would happen." I think they even had a feast, to celebrate or something, because he was such a rascal. He was harassing so much. Prabhupada wanted that temple in Bombay so much, but he was just one obstacle after another. Such a rascal, cheater.
It's in Giriraj Maharaj's book.
Yeah.
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 I haven't read it completely, but some parts, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, he even tried to get he not only tried, he got a prostitute to try to get Giriraj to fall down. They were driving somewhere and to see Prabhupada or something, and he got in the car and there's a prostitute right next to him. She started making a pass at him. And he was like, "What the heck?" He was like shocked. Yeah. And he was honest. He thought, well, the thought entered in his mind, but then he thought, no, if this were to happen, Prabhupada's name would be it wouldn't be good for Prabhupada. So he decided, no. So, okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakapri Vishnu Kripasnev Chaparitana Bhavani Vaishnavebhyo. Jai.
Space Vijaya Prabhu. Yeah. I think that's Krishna saying. Bhagavad Gita has